Mastering lifestyle photography is one of my absolute favorite subjects. So this is something that I'm really glad you guys are all on today because this is something that I feel like was going to benefit each and every one of you in some way. Whether you shoot lifestyle photography, whether you're a portrait photographer, I feel like lifestyle photography is the most important type of photography there is. All right. Celebrity fashion photographer and lifestyle advertising photographer, Kevin Michael Schmitz here, and I am here to talk to you about probably my favorite type of photography that there is, and that is essentially lifestyle photography. Now, this is something that is extremely lucrative, and most of you guys are probably unaware how much money you can make as a lifestyle commercial advertising photographer, especially those of you guys who are in different types of photography, such as portraiture or weddings, or you're shooting swimwear, or different types of photography that, maybe you can do okay, but, will you be making $200,000 on a photo shoot? Well, today we're going to talk about how to do that, how to master lifestyle photography, how to make a ton of money doing it, and to become a sought after photographer that can be represented by an agent and become that world-class photographer that you've always wanted to achieve. So guys, I am really excited, and I want to make sure that you guys also ask a lot of questions. We're going to be going over a ton of Q&A. And we're going to be also bringing on a couple of amazing panelists that we're going to be bringing on who have attended some of our epic lifestyle commercial advertising photographic workshops just recently, actually. So we have some incredible photographers such as the great Rob Collins, who's going to be on, as well as who just joined us actually in Miami Beach for a commercial lifestyle advertising shoot photographic workshop, as well as the amazing Kelly Williams, which I'm excited to have on as well, who's taken several productions with us. And I'm excited to have her on to talk candidly as well about mastering lifestyle photography. So guys, if you guys do want to also indulge me on answering some of the poll questions, we're going to be asking a series of poll questions. For instance, what type of photography do you guys love the most? That's going to be the first one that I want to know. Are you guys into lifestyle? Are you into fashion? Are you into portraits? Are you into beauty, product, food, architecture? What is it that you guys are mostly interested in? What do you either, maybe you're passionate about it, or maybe you shoot something else but are passionate about this, or maybe this is you are doing what you're passionate about. Either way, I'd love for you guys to answer that candidly. Let me know, where you guys are at, because that's important. We do these epic webinars specifically for you, and I'm excited to kind of answer your questions and go over some of the strategies that might benefit you guys in topics of photography that interest you as well. So that's one of the reasons we do these, and we also like to hear your perceptions on what gets you guys going in the morning as a photographer. I know that, many of you guys also shoot portraits and weddings, but I also know that, when you were growing up as a young person, and when you were a little kid, you probably didn't grow up saying, hey, mommy and daddy, one day, that, many of you guys also shoot portraits and weddings, but I also know that, that one day, someday I want to grow up to be a wedding photographer. Someday I want to grow up to shoot people's corporate headshots. Probably not. Maybe if you were dreaming to be a photographer, maybe you wanted to shoot for Vogue, or maybe you wanted to shoot, for a major brand, or maybe you want to shoot for National Geographic. What does that look like for you guys? That's pretty important. And I'd like to, for you guys to, be talking about what are the things that you're most passionate about. And for me, I started off actually really passionate about fashion photography, but I realized early on in my career that, as awesome as fashion is, I feel like fashion is a bit limited by essentially the models that you're photographing and what the apparel is. And you are telling stories in a way, but oftentimes the models are very stagnant. They're just looking in one direction. They're not making much of an expression. And when you're looking at lifestyle photography, it is all about expressions. It's all about energy. It's all about amping up and creating this scene, allowing it to unfold, and then capturing that moment. And for me, I found that to be a lot more rewarding because we're photographing authentic stories, authentic scenes that are right out of a slice of life. And that's another term for lifestyle photography, slice of life. And that's essentially a way I like to brand myself as not just a lifestyle photographer. I feel like I am a slice of life photographer. And what I mean by that is I'm creating content that feels like you're right out of this moment, almost like you are, if the viewer is a part of the scene and the viewer is looking in, they almost feel like they're inside of the scene with you. And I think with the models, and you're creating this amazing moment where you're telling this incredible story and you're feeling like you are inside of the scene with those models, like almost like those models or the people in the scene are your friends and you're interacting with them. And to me, I love that. This is a little bit of my lifestyle photography where I'm creating a story, allowing it to unfold. And then I'm in that moment with those models. Like I'm in that scene. We're having fun. We're laughing. We're smiling. We're joking around. We're having this moment. We're boxing on the bed. We're having a piggyback ride. We're, laughing and having that moment while we're drinking coffee or we're having a champagne battle. What does that look like to you guys? Now, granted, a lot of these have young adult models in them. But we also incorporate child models, we incorporate elder models, and we create scenes with all different demographics and ethnicities and different age ranges. So it's not just about creating content that is with young adults, but of course, a lot of brands like young adults, but we're also creating stories where we have stories like this, where we have young adults along with child models, along with family scenes, different demographics. And I also like to have a lot of ethnicities that are more ethnically ambiguous with the models. That way we can cover a lot of different types of industries and different cultures, because oftentimes when you guys are shooting lifestyle advertising, which I have all my career, I am working with advertising agencies that also work with different demographics, different cultures. So you might work with an ad agency that, like for instance, I shot campaigns for Miller Lite and for Coors Light, and I specifically worked with the agency that handled like the Latin market for Coors Light. So they go after a different demographic, and oftentimes in a company will have different ad agencies to tackle different demographics, different regions. And also I want you guys to have images that feel like you're not just local to where you are, but you can create a national brand. Okay. And the content that I'm showing you was actually shot on location at our commercial lifestyle slice of life advertising photography workshops, just like we have one happening next week in Virginia, where we're flying in top models from LA, from New York, from Miami, and we're working with a top wardrobe stylist that's being flown in, and we're photographing at this epic scene where we're shooting with these sprawling multi-million-dollar equestrian estates that are absolutely incredible, and we're creating these unbelievable stories, slice of life, lifestyle moments. So all this content, by the way, guys, is photographed on location with attendees, which is pretty fantastic. So, and by the way, I'm already getting some great questions. Chad Westover asked, I'm curious how you see AI affecting the lifestyle photography industry. Well, you know what, Chad? I'm glad you asked that, because I was actually just discussing this recently with someone, and I feel as though AI is not going to really hurt this industry as much, because AI is generally, taking content that has already been shot before and redistributing those pixels and creating a new scene, but based upon prior photographs. That's really all it is. It's moving around pixels and creating that new moment, right? Now, oftentimes, though, it works best for more stagnant scenes. I've seen a lot of AI for more fashion type of photography and more, kind of artsy kind of photography and portraiture. But when it comes to a slice of life moment, I haven't really seen anything that really rivals anything like this yet. Not an AI. And I think that and of course, with AI, we're talking about it's primarily still, it's not video. And of course, we're also filming video content at all of these productions, for instance. So it's not just a slice of life, caught in the moment with people laughing, smiling, engaging each other, but also we're creating video sequences that align with that photographic story. And I honestly I don't believe that AI is going to put photographers out of business. In fact, I would actually say it's going to benefit photographers because AI still needs to have content to source from. So it gives you an opportunity to license images to be able to have AI sourcing from that for the final content that it's going to be using and generating. But generally, I would say that, it is cool. It is a tool. AI is fantastic, and it can definitely be advantageous for some things. But as far as shooting a slice of life commercial lifestyle advertising story, I don't see it taking the place of this anytime soon. I feel like maybe in product photography, in automotive photography, it's going to be a bit more I would say intrusive into that industry and disruptive. But in commercial lifestyle content, I haven't seen AI do anything remotely like this. Okay, so and make it look real. So I think that Chad, I mean, it's a great question, but I feel like if you go after commercial lifestyle, I think it's going to be a fairly safe bet if you want to stay as a commercial lifestyle advertising photographer. And by the way, I put a poll up. What type of photography you guys love most? And it looks like the majority of you guys are saying lifestyle with a close second as portraiture. That sounds fantastic. And by the way, portraiture is a part of lifestyle in a way. And I did want to address that. If you are a portrait photographer, for instance, you're photographing people, more everyday people generally, and you are creating this amazing content, and it's about them. And the difference between portraiture and lifestyle photography is that portraiture is about the person that you're actually photographing. It's about them. It's telling a story about the person. So there's, for instance, a celebrity portrait. It's about that person. If you're photographing a senior portrait or you're photographing a portrait of a couple, it's about those people or that person in the scene. And they're hiring you, you're photographing it. They are usually looking into camera and engaging with you. Whereas when you're photographing lifestyle, as you can see here, we're creating these moments. We're creating these stories where it's not per se about that model or that person. It's more to do with the story around the scene that you're creating. And to me, that's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more interesting to me to be able to tell a story that is dynamic and incredible. And you're telling a story with the models are more of they're a tool within that story. So it's not really about them as a person. It's more about them as actors in the scene. And you are telling a story as a director. Okay. So that's really, really important, the distinction. But if you're a portrait photographer and you're starting to create content that's a little bit more lifestyle, this is very marketable. And if you are a portrait photographer, I highly recommend you take more of a lifestyle approach because this is becoming more and more popular in 2023. This is becoming a really hot thing, shooting more of a lifestyle story with portraiture, with weddings, as well as with fashion. With all industries, I'm seeing more of a lifestyle bent to it. Now, why lifestyle photography? Why are we talking a bit about this and why is it important? Okay. Well, I want to point something out. I think that a lot of photographers, they see the glitz and glam of, the top brands. They see Gucci and Versace and Louis Vuitton, and they see these gaunt fashion models, and they see these in celebrities, and they see these kind of crazy over the top, productions. And that's great and all. But I also want to point out that a lot of times, believe it or not, guys, those photo shoots aren't paying as much as you might think. And the reason is that fashion companies are generally not the biggest companies. They're not the biggest companies in the world. Now there's LVMH, which is the Louis Vuitton company, and they own a whole swath of other fashion brands. And that one company, LVMH, that is in the Fortune 500. It is a very wealthy company. That is a top company. That is true. But when you look at essentially the top companies in the world, as far as, some of the biggest companies, I'll even pull it up here. We're going to look, and the reason I mention this is that Fortune 500 companies, we're looking at AT&T, General Electric, Apple, McKesson, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, Boeing, Walmart, all these major companies. These are huge, mega, either $1 trillion companies or worth hundreds of billions in their market cap. Now, what is their spend? What is their media spend? And a lot of you guys might not be aware of this, but the media spend for these companies is astronomical. Okay. For their media buy, for their media placement, for their advertising. I'm looking at, Apple, they're spending just insane, literally billions of dollars on their ad spend. And this is really important to realize. So these multi-billion-dollar spends on advertising, this affects you as a photographer. And the reason that the Fortune 500 is really important to watch is that the Fortune 500 companies on the stock exchange, all Fortune 500 companies photograph lifestyle in some way. All those companies I just mentioned, whether you're shooting for Apple or Pfizer or you're shooting for AT&T, literally all of them photograph a form of lifestyle photography. If you Google their images, you Google their websites, you go to their advertising campaigns, you see their commercials, every single one of them incorporates lifestyle in some way on all those sectors. Okay, so it's really important to realize that. So the reason the lifestyle photography is important is it's the highest paying form of photography, much higher paying than fashion photography. Much higher paying than fashion, than not just fashion photography, but also portraiture. Much more high paying than events. Much more high paying than photographing weddings. So unless you're, if you're a portraiture photographer, a lot of them make anywhere from $500 to $5,000 a photo shoot. But on a lifestyle commercial advertising campaign, on the low end, you're looking at $30,000 a shoot, and on the high end, you're looking at $800,000 a shoot. Now, $800,000 shoots are not as common, that's true, but I would say the majority of the large-scale advertising campaigns that are lifestyle, that are shot with advertising agencies that work with major companies, they're usually six figures. They're usually at least $100,000, most of them. And I come from experience because I've been doing this my entire career. I've shot these six-figure campaigns myself. So I can tell you that I really blossomed as a photographer when I transitioned more from fashion into lifestyle, because I now have an opportunity to hit a much more higher paying demographic of clientele. And that's something that I highly, highly recommend. And by the way, I'm just listing off some of the photographic trends. I'm going to share the results here in the polls. Which photographic trends are most important to you? And it looks like 60% of you guys are all talking about marketing techniques. As well as, I would say, the next biggest is booking more clients and making more money. And then that would be the two most important. And after that, it's like fashion, styling, design trends, art direction. So fantastic, guys. And thank you so much for your responses on these polls, because I'd love to talk about that. Now, if marketing techniques are important to you, if booking more clients are important to you, because it sounds like they are, just realize that the people that you need to be marketing to, if you want to do lifestyle photography, are specifically advertising agency creative directors and art buyers. They are the decision makers. So essentially, if you wanted to shoot a campaign for Pfizer, for instance, Pfizer has a series of advertising agencies that work underneath it, that they hire, and that ad agency that they work with, they generally have a main agency, like a top agency that's dealing with their largest scale productions, and then they have a few agencies below that are maybe handling other projects, other brands, or other demographics. Okay, so a company like Pfizer might have, I don't know, 5 different agencies, and they have one main agency. So that's pretty common. But if you're going after, say, Pfizer to shoot a lifestyle campaign for, a health and wellness pharmaceutical kind of brand, oftentimes what we have to do is we need to find out who that ad agency is. And then we need to find out who the art buyers are and the creative directors within that ad agency to market ourselves to. And this is something that I go in depth with at the Marketing for Photographers workshop. This is one that I know I've probably mentioned on this before, but we offer an elite photographic workshop specifically on marketing yourself. And it really goes in depth about marketing you as a lifestyle photographer. Now, this is an incredible workshop, and it's an intensive virtual experience. It's only $12.95 to attend this thing. And the best part of the virtual workshop on marketing for photographers is not only do you learn and master all aspects of marketing yourself as a photographer, but it also applies, the $12.95 applies 100% towards any enrollment in one of our 5-day experiences. So if it is something that you guys see value in marketing, it's great because it ends up being free in the end when you come to our in-person experiences. And by the way, the image that's on the top here was photographed by a photographer. I believe this was shot by the great David Gesprecht, world-class commercial photographer who attended this one of our epic lifestyle workshops. And an image like this to me is iconic. It's an iconic lifestyle image and an image that you would want to market heavily to that audience. So the reason being is that it's beautifully styled. You've got incredible, beautiful models. You've got this beautiful landscape story. And what was cool about this is a shot shooting up a hill. So you kind of has a really interesting depth to it. And you're creating these scenes where they're dancing, they're having fun, they're smiling, they're laughing. And a scene like this is extremely dynamic. And most importantly, it's extremely marketable. It's something that you can market to a large audience of clientele. You know, whether you want to shoot a campaign for free people, whether you want to photograph, say, you know, a health and wellness campaign, whether you're photographing for a beverage, for a health product, there's so many different markets that you can go after with this type of photography. So I think that, you know, when you arm yourself with a world-class commercial lifestyle portfolio, it gives you an opportunity to become marketable to a much larger audience and to a very high paying audience, a high ticket audience, because you're working with advertising agencies. And by the way, guys, I know I have a couple of my amazing panelists on, Rob Collins and Kelly Williams. I am inviting you guys on to be panelists, so just watch that because I am sending the invite on via Zoom here. So just make sure to click accept so I can have you guys actually join again as a panelist. You as well, Kelly. I see I have Rob on. And these are amazing photographers that I've had the privilege of working with. So guys, and I want to hear from you because I have first of all the great Rob Collins on, and Rob, I just worked with you just like 2 weeks ago, and I'm really excited because you were so much fun to work with. You're a world-class photographer. I've worked with you a few times now. You came on location to our Miami Beach photographic workshop, and Rob, what I loved about you is that you have another career, you're doing photography on the side, but it looks like, you know, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you're transitioning to see if maybe you can make photography as your full-time career as you build this world-class portfolio, as you become a world-class commercial photographer. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that journey and like where you see yourself going with lifestyle photography, for instance, and how do you see yourself going forward with kind of this next, you know, realm of a career?
You know, I got to tell you, Kevin, I'm so glad that I met you a few years ago, because this journey of leaving one career and going to this career that I really, really want to pursue, I don't think that I would even be on that path were it not for you. So I really appreciate that. I really absolutely from the heart appreciate that. But full-time photography, I know there's people doing it and they're very successful at it, and I truly want to be one of those people. And these workshops have just been top notch. I mean, just getting me prepared for that. So by the end of this year, I should be totally immersed into the photography world.
Excellent. Now, tell me, Rob, what do you feel like you've, I would say, learned the most or grown the most photographically? And let's start with like commercial lifestyle, because I'm gonna pull up some of your content. I think this was one of yours, right?
Yep.
So tell me about this. You know, this is shot on location in Miami Beach. It's photographed in front of the SLS, which is like a premier resort in Miami Beach. We shot with, you got resort in the background. We've got, you know, a couple in the foreground. Tell me a little bit about that.
The locations were just so incredible and over the top. It was almost to the point of being overwhelmed by the location that I had to direct my concentration on the model so I can get the great shot. I have a newfound respect for lifestyle photography because I thought fashion, just like you mentioned before, fashion would be it, and fashion is great. But having done this lifestyle, this is just a newfound respect and love for it. But the scenes were fantastic. Working with the models were fantastic. and that newfound respect and how to art direct the scene, learning all of that stuff from you. It's just great. Fantastic.
Absolutely. We even had access to the pool at the SLS and these
Mhm.
amazing models from the top agencies like Elite and Wilhelmina and Ford and CGM. And we had all these incredible models. But I love this, and you notice the scale of the production too. So when you have multiple models, it becomes a lot more complex.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Maybe working with, say, 3 models in a scene, as opposed to normally a lot of photographers just shoot one person. But what's it like to shoot like a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 model scene? What did that feel like?
I got to tell you, honestly, it felt more like being on a film set, because at the point you're ready to go, action, and now the models go into action, and it truly is where you're trying to get them to the difficulty and the level of trying them to get the expressions that you want, the big energy that you want. So it felt more like being on a movie set than being on a photography set.
Absolutely. It is like a movie set. I'm glad you mentioned that. And also, Rob, you and I got to work a lot together on filming content,
Mhm.
doing
Yep,
video.
yep.
And so it was like a movie set, because we had like 25 to 30 people on set each day. It was a big production. But also you got to photograph the imagery and couple that with aerial drone, as well as we had a gimbal shooting with an 8K camera and everything like that. So you now have the video content that matches the photographic content, which I think is cool. But this image, like right here, and this is raw, this is straight out of camera, not retouched, not edited or anything.
Yep.
But to me, it's about the expressions. It's about those moments. And Rob, when I look at this feels authentic. This does not look set up to me. This does not look like you told these models to pose. You got in there and you worked with those models and you shot a scene that felt real. And to me, this feels real. This feels like they're your friends and you're hanging out with them, and
Yeah.
to me, that's creating true lifestyle slice of life. So I'm really proud of you for a shot like this, because this is
Thanks.
really, really strong. And now you've been to a few of these productions with me. What were the other ones? You went to Miami, and what else?
Vegas, Las Vegas.
Yep. So
Yep.
we shot high fashion in Las Vegas,
Yep.
out in the desert. We shot lifestyle and slice of life resort, and we shot swim in Miami. Tell me like maybe the differences, because Vegas was really dry, and we shot with, it was out in the desert, and we had these rocks, red rocks. It was amazing.
Mhm.
We shot this big editorial with all these top models that we flew in. But Miami was lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about the experience of the differential, because the workshops were so different between Vegas and Miami.
The biggest difference that I had an experience was on the fashion. It's more static, getting the right pose and holding that pose and then getting a photo. But on lifestyle is so dynamic, having all the action going on, the expressions, letting the models do their thing, basically, art direct them where you want them to go, but seeing them hit those points. I mean, it was just so dynamic. I just loved it. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough good stuff about that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And also, I want to tell, the audience here too, like Rob is a true professional on set. He works extremely well with the models. He coaches the models and he's ready to go, keeps a really positive attitude. That's a really important aspect, because you know what, Rob, when we're photographing lifestyle, it's just as important as far as our personalities as how we're shooting it, because the models need to react to us. And we need, you probably saw me come alive, because I was very different when we're working in Vegas together, shooting high fashion, then we're shooting lifestyle. I'm jumping up and down. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm pumping Red
That's
Bull.
right.
I'm super excited. But you notice the difference, because these moments look authentic.
Yeah.
They look real. They look real. So anyway, this is a big differential. So the production was really different, right, in Las Vegas as opposed to Miami?
The production, it was, and because we were working with multiple models on set, the hair and makeup and the stylist, everyone working together, like I mentioned, it felt more like a movie set, but everyone was working so well together. It just felt so dynamic that I just wanted to be there, and I just couldn't wait for the next scene and just wait for the next scene. I mean, it's just something that I just fell in love with.
Excellent. So you have a newfound love for lifestyles, what you're saying?
That is correct.
I
Yes.
love that. I love that. So it's so great because guys like Rob, I work with so many photographers like Rob who they're great photographers. They jump in, they take a fashion workshop because they're wild and dazzled. They, oh, we shoot these Vogue models. Okay, this is great. But then I'm like, just give this lifestyle thing a shot. We get you involved in one of these lifestyle experiences, and it's a fully different experience. And one of the noteworthy things too, and I know the models we worked with in Vegas were really awesome to work with, but do you notice the difference in the models as far as when you work with lifestyle models? They seem like more real people. They seem more down to earth. They're more fun. They're more bubbly. There, you don't have any of that like gone, oh, I'm a high fashion model, look at me,
Right.
I'm so cool. It's like they're more real, right?
Yeah, that is right. That is true. That's right on point.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that was a big difference that I noticed between lifestyle and fashion. And honestly, it's more approachable. So if you're a photographer that's maybe a little bit like I don't know, worried about posing and working with big high profile models, one of the cool things about lifestyle photography, Rob, is it's easy to work with these models, right?
Yeah, it was very easy. I felt that much easier than the fashion models.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And was there a certain scene that, you shot in Miami, for instance? I know you did Vegas too, but that you shot in Miami that you felt was like, wow, like this scene, this really changed. And this was something that was out of this world. Like, is there, because like I'm looking at your images now, I have them in the background here and I'm looking them up, and images like this that are just out of this world, looks like it's, shot for Ritz-Carlton in the Bahamas or something. But tell me, like, is there a certain scene that you got most excited about throughout the week?
It's funny you mentioned that from that set that we were doing right there. Plus, the other one that I really, really enjoyed was by the pool, the three models by the
Yeah.
pool,
Yeah.
because not even just with the photograph, but standing back and just looking at that scene, it just looked like something that was just straight out of a magazine. It's like, it was just great.
So
And working with multiple models, I really enjoyed that as opposed to just with one model.
well, okay, so this is I'm glad you brought that up, Rob, because this is something that Rob just mentioned that you guys, this is critical. He said it's a lot more interesting shooting with multiple models. It's not just more interesting though, Rob, it's more marketable. And this is where this kind of separates, the men from the boys, and the world class, female, woman photographer to the girls that like are just kind of dabbling. This is a big next step when you get to photograph a sequence that is multiple models together. It has innate high production value. And to me right now, I mean, this looks like you went down and shot in the Bahamas. You've got this incredible Lycra tower behind you. You've got the trees all perfect. The sand is perfectly manicured. We had film permits, so everything was lined up and everything was perfect. We didn't have a bunch of people in the scene. We have these amazing models styled with, the girl on the left is wearing an $1,800 dress. They're wearing amazing wardrobe from Zimmerman and Love Shack Fancy, and it's an incredible wardrobe. And production value and the scale, there's so much more story to tell with multiple models, and this is what clients are looking for. If you just show them scenes with one model in the scene, anyone can do that. Model test, boring editorial. But when you're shooting a scene like this, to me, this is commercial lifestyle advertising. This is it. And you accomplished it. To me, this is iconic. This is an image that it would be in the front, the cover of a lifestyle advertising portfolio to show with a major advertising agency to book a campaign. That's it right here. This is it. And Rob accomplished that. This is just one raw image out of his book of, I don't know, 1,000 pictures that he shot. So this is just one picture. But this to me, Rob, is what gets me really excited. I'm really proud of you because a scene like this is super dynamic. The one you shot at the pool as well that we're just looking at the SLS, another really hard thing to do because we'll get permission to shoot at the SLS and have them block off the high beach pool, have full access, and have a multi-model situation. Very complicated. Very complicated. So anyway, Rob, I'm really excited. I can't wait to work with you again. And I know, you've Vegas, you've done Miami. What's next for you?
I'm really interested in getting to the master class because it's a combination of a few different things that I like, and I'm really looking forward to getting master class under my belt.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the masterclass, and by the way, Kelly Williams is our next panelist. She's coming on here shortly, and I'm going to ask her about this because she's been to the Elite Masterclass before, I believe. I know Kelly, has created incredible content with us at multiple workshops. But the masterclass is unique because we're shooting 2 days lifestyle. just like we're seeing, in Rob's work. And then we're also shooting 3 days high fashion. And the cool thing about this is that you as a photographer, Rob, get to design the creative with us. And Mike Weilet, who is on right now, he designed a lot of the concepts here because Mike is a genius creatively and a great photographer. And he was like, you know what, Kevin, I'm really excited about the masterclass, and I know he's coming again this year. He's going to help design the concepts around what we tell at the masterclass. In fact, Mike was really involved at the Miami Beach workshop because he was there with you, Rob, and he helped design some of the inspiration and also the model selections at Miami Beach. So some of those incredible models that you got to work with, they were all selected by Mike. He was involved with that. But the masterclass, we get you guys very heavily involved in the selection of models like this. This was on one of the days. We got to shoot at with 1940s fighter planes, with supermodels from Vogue, with a top stylist, the style celebrities in Vogue, and we got the photographers published. We then, this was on another day of a masterclass. We shot at a water studio with parachutes. We shot with a Vogue model shooting unbelievable. Well, actually, we had like 4 models there from Vogue shooting unbelievable stories. With water splashing, creating iconic images, and it totally over the top. And it is our most elite workshop, so we definitely recommend you take like 1 to 2 main section workshops first, just like Rob did. And now Rob's ready. He did Vegas, he did Miami. He's ready to jump into the masterclass. It's the most elite workshop we do of the year, and it gets me really excited because this is something that we take it up to the next level. And then we also do stuff like this, commercial lifestyle advertising, where we're doing multiple model sequences shot at the elite masterclass on the first 2 days to create these moments, allow them to unfold and capture them, but also photographing with my A-list models from LA, my A-list styling team from LA. And also, Rob, you also notice a trend in some of the styles. I'm styling the models in more of that kind of boho way, right? Because the reason I'm doing that is it's really easy for your photography to become obsolete. Like if you're shooting fashion and you shoot it for 2023, well, in 2 years, it's going to be obsolete. People are going to be like, that's old. I saw that. I want to see something fresh. I want to know what you're shooting now, right? But with lifestyle, if you're shooting this boho stuff like Free People and Zimmerman, and it's very what I would call timeless. Mm-hmm. And content like this is timeless. So even if you shot it 3 years ago, no one knows. No one's aware that it was, like for instance, this image with the boxing scene, this was shot like 5 years ago. And to me, this is still really relevant, this shot right here. It doesn't look, now this was obviously not boho, it was more of just like very, more like sporty wear and stuff like that. But I think this one was shot like 4 years ago. Very, very still in. It's in right now. It's got that moment, that fun, that lifestyle feel. In these images, I think this one was like maybe 2 years ago, but it's going to stand the test of time because boho will always be in. That retro thing will always be in. So if we can create stuff that's timeless, it will last and it'll have more value to you as a photographer because you won't have to replace it in a couple of years with content that is, with new outfits. That makes sense. So it's something that to always remember when you're photographing stuff for your portfolio, you want to make sure that you get the most out of it. And you're creating scenes that are dynamic, iconic, so they can, blow up a huge canvas on the wall and put it up on the wall, but also content that lasts, and I feel like this content lasts. So that's pretty awesome, Rob. I'm excited to have you there. And I'm excited to plan it with you because that's a big part of the whole fun is planning it, designing the inspiration around it, putting together a creative brief, and then executing it. So, and that's how I do it. And just like I do with an ad agency when I'm shooting a lifestyle advertising campaign. But excellent. So Rob, what do you suggest to photographers out there that have been maybe thinking about the workshops? They've been looking at us. They've been attending our webinars for a long time. What's your suggestion for them?
To just go step right outside of your comfort zone and just actually get in there and do it. Because when you get in there, you'll realize this is where I should be. This is what I should be doing. I mean, it's not enough just sitting on the sidelines and just watching it be done. Just actually doing this. I think photographers, even experienced photographers, sometimes have a little confidence problem, but these are the type of places where you can build that confidence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you. The confidence thing is always an issue. I think a lot of photographers, and I think the reason for that is, Rob, we get rejected all day.
Mhm.
Photographers, when we're hustling and we're marketing ourselves and we're putting ourselves out there, we get rejected all day. So of course we're going to have confidence challenges, right? As photographers, because it's
Right.
our work, it's our love, it's our energy that we're pouring into our photography. And then when people reject it, crushes us. So a lot of photographers struggle, and who crushes us the most? It's usually the people we love. It's usually
Yeah.
family members, the husband, the wife, the kids, the friends or whatever. And, oh, it's not good enough, or, oh, they criticize, whatever. But you know what,
Yeah.
guys? I'm here to tell you, and you as well, Rob, when you go into this next chapter, the only people's opinions that matter on your lifestyle photography are those of art buyers. That's it. No one else matters. It's art buyers at ad agencies and creative
Yeah.
directors, maybe a marketing director. Anyone else, it's irrelevant. I don't care if people give you props and say how great it is, or whatever. It doesn't really matter, because the only people's opinions that matter are the ones booking you.
Yeah.
And that's
True.
something always keep in mind, because oftentimes, if everyone says how good your stuff is, well, we're probably not going to get any better. We're not going to
Right.
improve, right? And if everybody criticizes you, well, it's gonna crush our ego, and we might not want to do it anymore, because we don't want to get rejected. So if we can just put that behind us and be like, you know what, I want to get better, I want to improve, but the only people's opinions that matter are art buyers and creative directors, because they're the ones hiring me.
Mhm.
That's really what it matters. And that's why, when I come on and I coach people like Rob, I put my hat on as an art buyer, a creative director, or photo editor. And I'm like, you know what? And Rob knows this, because I work with him on set. And I'm like, hey, Rob, I love this, but let's
Yeah.
improve it by adjusting, maybe putting the models off to the left, having a double page spread, have some, art direction wise, maybe the poses could be a little stronger, those kind of things. And honestly, Rob, it's rarely I talk about the technical stuff, because you already
Mhm.
mastered the technical stuff. It's more about layout, design, and what a client's going to look for.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Rob. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to have you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to work with you at the masterclass and these upcoming productions. It's going to be incredible. And I can't wait to plan it with you. So anyway, thank you so much. And we'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon. I appreciate all your comments about it. You're very, very sweet. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Kevin. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring on my next panelist, you guys, and that's the great Kelly Williams. Kelly is an incredible photographer herself. And I have had the honor of working with her for years now. And I don't know, maybe 3 years. And Kelly not only is an incredible photographer, I'd love her to, I also want to, showcase her beautiful imagery that she shot with me on location. And actually, multiple of these productions that you're looking at right now on the screen, she was at these productions. She was at I know at a few of them. So it's really going to be exciting to talk with her about what lifestyle means for her and kind of the next chapter. So so Kelly, wonderful to have you on. Um, you're an incredible photographer yourself. You're already really talented when I first started with you. But I've also seen a huge transition in your photography from when I met you like 3 years ago to now. I think I met you right at the midst of COVID happening and all that.
Yes.
And you took some workshops right away with me, and it completely transformed your brand. And you
Right.
made a comment to me yesterday, I think, when we were talking, and you said something like that you had maybe increased how much you made as a photographer quite a bit over the last year. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that live?
Yes. Well, I was getting too busy, so I needed to raise my rates, but I'm still too busy. So I don't know how high I can, because I shoot a lot of corporate stuff. So I don't really even know how high I can go with corporate. I guess as much as they'll pay me, but but yeah, it's just a very busy market here. And so I was able to raise my rates, and that takes a lot of nerve, I guess. I was so afraid I was going to lose clients. But I did lose a couple, but it's fine. It was, clients that they weren't consistent, or I didn't really love photographing them. So yeah, they're a little bit more high maintenance. So I retained all of my great clients. They understood. And my expenses have gone up too, actually. So it was just time to raise the rates, but it hasn't hurt anything. So And it
Well,
kind
so yeah, you told me that, and it sounds like, the images you've created at the workshops and also some of the mindset, because I've been telling you to raise your rates for 3 years now. The mindset's changed. And you told me that you made $100,000 more this last year than you did the prior year because you raised your rates. So you're basically making more, working less. And, you can essentially, and I want you to take even up another echelon to be able to shoot the big, large-scale advertising commercial campaigns. And also, I had suggested yesterday to you, when I spoke to you, Kelly, is you're already working with all these corporate clients, shooting their headshots, shooting projects for them. Why not contact them about shooting their national campaign?
right.
Why not shoot their lifestyle campaign and land their media buy? Because if you're dealing with directly, that means that you're not dealing with an advertising agency. And you could essentially shoot for them a full-scale national campaign and handle the media buy if they're willing to trust you. That would be huge, because now you can make, you can go from, I don't know how much you're making per shoot, 3, 4, 5,000 a shoot now to making 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, sometimes $500,000 a shoot if you're doing the media buy as well.
Right. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
So that's next step, I guess.
Yeah. And this content that you're showcasing here is extremely strong. I mean, this is amazing work. I know that all these images we're looking at, this is from the Chicago workshop, the Elite Masterclass. You've attended, this is also the Elite Masterclass with fashion, shot on location at a water studio, which was absolutely incredible. I know I have quite a few of you on right now that have attended this one. This was Chicago. So you created this amazing fashion content that immediately could go after fashion designers, shooting lookbooks, shooting for branding campaigns. But then also we look at this amazing lifestyle content right here. And this is the very marketable stuff. And you guys notice the difference, fashion, they're a little bit more somber. They're a little bit more intense. They're a little bit more gaunt. And then you look at the lifestyle stuff where it's caught in a moment. We're creating these moments, letting them unfold and then capturing them. So Kelly, tell me a little bit about your process here. I mean, do you like the process of telling stories with lifestyle? Do you like the energy? Do you like the flow, or is fashion more your jam?
Well, I was a test photographer for too many years, and just didn't know how to transition into, shooting more ad agency work. And I didn't know you yet. We met so late. Yeah, so I was shooting test photography and then shooting some fashion stuff, beauty, body, things like that. But I got bored with it. And models, don't pay so that much, or, fashion doesn't pay that much. Everybody's looking for donations. So yeah, so I started shooting headshots for actors, and that turned into realtors, and that turned into the corporate thing. And now I work with huge corporate companies. So yeah, so that's been the progress of my career. And now,
and you have all these big brands, Kelly. I mean, look at all these brands at the bottom of your website that you shoot for. That's huge. That's really huge. That's something to be really proud of. You've got some major brands. Okay. So, and I love this. I mean, I like that Kelly's not only showing the content she shoots, but she's also showing who she's shooting for, which is really important, because, when you see major brands and logos there that like, oh, wow, okay, I trust her now. I'm gonna award her this project. And you've got great work. Now, Kelly, you also told me the other day that you are creating a new brand of just Kelly Williams lifestyle photography. And I know you're in process with designing your website for that, right?
I am. I'm just going to leave my Kelly Williams photography, leave that for corporate, and then really start a push for the ad agency stuff, and just having a separate, clean website for that, without all the marketing and commercial stuff. So yeah.
Perfect. I think that's smart. I also would suggest we probably separate some of the fashion from the lifestyle, have like a Kelly Williams fashion, Kelly Williams lifestyle, because the fashion stuff is out of this world incredible. And I do recommend you pursue that, but it's a separate brand. And you know what? I've done campaigns myself in Texas. But the thing is I'm an LA, New York photographer, and they're flying me in. You need to brand yourself as a national photographer, Kelly, and maybe even get an LA and New York number. so that when you do go after those clients in Dallas, they might believe, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna book Kelly, and you can work as a local in Texas. That's
Yeah.
what I would do.
Yes.
Yes. And also you could work as a local in LA, New York. Obviously, what that means is that you just have to foot the bill for yourself to fly there and do a shoot, as far as the hotel and rental car. But that's nothing when you're booking a $200,000 shoot. So I always have done this since I was 24 years old. I started off, shooting I grew up in Michigan, got a phone number for, I moved to San Francisco for graduate school in photography. Then I moved to LA, but I had a New York, LA SF number, and then dropped the SF, just had New York, LA. And immediately I had more respect. And that's what we need you to see. Because right now, when I look at your work, you look like a national photographer, not a Texan photographer, but a national brand. And that's how I want you to be perceived, Kelly, going forward. So tell us about your experiences. You've done a bunch of these workshops. You've done Chicago, you've done Miami, you've done the masterclass. Am I missing any others?
I've done 2 master classes. So my first one was master. So I've done 2 master classes. Virginia. Yeah, I don't even have the pictures from Virginia up yet. So
Yeah.
I do that.
So Kelly's been to all these different ones, and had these amazing experiences. So tell us about your experience there on set. I mean, as far as the models, as far as the production, as far as the art direction, tell us about your experience.
It's great. The people are really nice. I really like going and just hanging out with colleagues, people in the same headspace. So it's kind of like a little vacation for me. But everybody's super nice. The models are always really nice. The fashion's great. I really loved the LA one. I loved the models in LA. But it's just well put together. It's done well. You're free to shoot whatever you want. You have a lot of freedom, but a lot of direction as well. So, and you're there with any questions. And I've been shooting for like 30 years now. And I definitely wanted to go to your courses, just to your workshops, just to learn some new techniques, as you can always learn new stuff. And the lifestyle stuff is really
shooting for 30 years. You look like you're in your 20s, Kelly.
Yeah.
What?
I started.
You look so young. That's crazy. Well, you know what I think is smart though, Kelly, is that you mentioned you've been shooting for 30 years, but you know what? Your work looks fresh. You don't look like you've been shooting for 30 years. You look like you're a hot, fresh photographer that everybody wants to book right now. And I think that that's really important. I think a lot of photographers I hear, I've been shooting for 30 years, been in the business a long time. I want the perception of you to the clients being like, no, you're the hottest photographer right now, and you're fresh and you're new. You haven't been shooting forever. You want to be the hot photographer that's in right now. And I see it in this work. It's incredible. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm really, really excited. And thank you so much for those kind words. I mean, you're always wonderful on set. And it's very collaborative because we have a small group of photographers at these experiences. Everybody is there to maybe make the production even more amazing, art direct certain scenes, and then also film the video content to create that epic high-end content on gimbals and drones that you can use for your, to master your marketing and get it out there. And I would encourage you to get even more of your video stuff out there and get it in front of people, because your work is absolutely amazing. So, so Kelly, I'm super excited, and I can't wait to see the next chapter of what the great Kelly Williams is going to achieve, especially with all this cornerstone of her content.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it too. I want higher pay.
Exactly. That's what we're all trying to go for. And you know what? You're right in the right place. You're doing all the right things. And I do agree with you. I think you should stick with your corporate stuff, keep that going. Meanwhile, you have this whole separate brand, and you go all in. And my suggestion would be to utilize Agency Access. That's a database of all the art buyers and creative directors worldwide that hire photographers. Start consistently marketing. And one of the great things about the workshops, for instance, is that, hey, you start sending them some emails and drip emails to showcase this amazing content and maybe some promo pieces. But then the workshop, you create a whole new body of work, so that you have more fresh content to drip to them. Oh my gosh, I just got, just finished shooting in New York. I have this epic fashion story. I've got to show it to you. Oh, I just got done shooting in LA with these supermodels at this water studio. It's something fresh. You want to check it out. And having that new fresh content, especially in fashion, because remember, fashion goes obsolete quick. So having fashion new content is really important to those fashion brands, really important to those agencies, extremely important. So I can't wait, Kelly. And I can't wait to see you in another one of these epic experiences coming up. I know we talked about like New York or LA. Maybe you'll be joining Rob and Mike in the masterclass. These experiences are going to be even more next level than anything you've done before, because we keep making them more and more ridiculous and over the top each year because of the scale of the production, the quality of the production and the models, and it's totally over the top. So Kelly, I'm excited. And next step for you is I want that new brand, that new website, the kellywilliamslifestyleadvertising.com. And then I want you to do a systematic marketing campaign to tackle these brands that hire photographers specifically for lifestyle advertising.
Yeah.
And then follow up with them consistently. And I would suggest, I know a lot of photographers don't like to hear this, but when I started in my career, Kelly, I would spend at least 3 to 4 days a week, about 6 hours a day, every single day, calling ad agencies, calling the art producers and creative directors. And I would spend, the other, 4 hours a day emailing them. So I would say every single day, I'd spend 8 to 10 hours every single day, 3 to 4 days a week, contacting agencies, building relationships with them, and setting up appointments so that I can meet them in person. And you're right there in Texas. There's a lot of major decision makers there. And also, one of the great things about the workshops is we do them all over the country and in Europe. But a lot of photographers will go and say, come to the masterclass or come to New York. And then while you're there, meet with art buyers and creative directors, say the Monday before the workshop begins. So that, you come into town, you use your trip to go meet with decision makers and bring your book. Very important. And, and if you can't do that, at least Zoom with them, let them know you're in town. Oh, I'm in New York. I'm doing this big fashion shoot. Get them excited and then showcase your work. So that's the next step. So thank you so much, Kelly. I'm excited and I can't wait to work with you again, because you've created all this magic, and I'm really excited for the next chapter of you landing. You made $100,000 more this year than last year. Now let's increase that by another $100,000 the following year than this last year. So I think that I think it's very doable. It's just we want to keep building and growing and becoming the best version of Kelly Williams we can have. Excellent. Thank you so much, Kelly. And I'm here with you. I've stayed with you. I work with my photographers before the workshop, during the workshop, and after the workshop to make sure that you succeed at your fullest potential. It's really important to me. Yeah. And that's why my team, my photographic consultants, are here to work with you guys and coach you guys, guide you guys, give you give you insight, and also just a little kick in the pants to move forward, because a lot of us get stuck. Yeah. And that's what, that's what sometimes we need. And if you guys click on the link in the chat, we have the opportunity to set up a free photographic mastermind session. I know you're doing one tomorrow, I think, Kelly, with Jamie, going over strategy for what's next. And this is something that we offer. It's totally free of charge. And it's just something that we want to coach you guys, guide you guys, and give you, our insight and knowledge. And I know you'd work with, Daniel Rothschild with us for many years. You worked with, I think you worked with Priscilla. You worked with Jamie. You worked with a bunch of our team, and we're all here to help move you forward and get you to that next level. That's really important to me. So go ahead and click on that, you guys. If everyone on that hasn't done that yet, make sure to set up one of those strategy sessions. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. And I can't wait to see you this fall.
Yep, absolutely. Be fun.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, guys. So you heard from a couple of amazing panelists with some incredible photography in lifestyle photography that that they have created with us over the years. Okay, so we have a great question from Mark Farwell. He says, could you speak a bit about hospitality and resort lifestyle? How is it different from editorial or fashion photography? I'm glad you asked that. So I have a lot of experience in this because I'm also the TV director, producer, and host of the TV show Great Escapes that airs on CBS. And I literally shoot a full-scale television show that's all about creating resort lifestyle content. So this is my show. This is a teaser from the show. And this is all shot. This is actually the Four Seasons Bora Bora that I'm the director, producer, host, and also I'm the DP creating this content. So I have a lot of experience in this, and we shoot at the Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons. We've done, in fact, we were just filming this winter over in the Maldives, shooting at Diamonds through the Fushi, Diamonds off the Ruga, Cinnamon Vela Fushi. These are all ultra luxe 5-star resorts. These are like $2,000 a night resorts in the Maldives. And I have shot all this content from around the world, going to the most ultra luxury destinations. So I have a lot of experience with this, not only as a TV host and director, but also as a photographer shooting for resort lifestyle advertising campaigns. So the biggest difference is that when you are shooting for resort, oftentimes you are working with their director of marketing directly at the resort, or you're working with an ad agency that is handling the account for the resort. So for instance, if it's Ritz-Carlton, they typically use an advertising agency, and the ad agency is the one that's going to be booking you, and then you come in and shoot for the national campaign for the resort, for instance. But a lot of times resorts, they do tend to not have as big a budgets as, say, shooting for Pepsi or shooting for Apple or something like that. But the resorts, I can tell you that if you shoot their national campaign, not just for one resort, but their national campaign, as well as shooting a campaign where it's lifestyle with people in it, you can make a lot of money. I know that I was actually like drooling over the IHG campaign, which is a major hotel chain. They manage some of these ultra luxe hotels that we're just at in the Maldives, and I was watching their commercial. It was definitely like a $200,000 budget shoot that they use, and it was only usage on it was specifically for within the rooms. Like, they have a video that plays on loop in the rooms, right? So so that was their usage, and honestly it had to be at least a $200,000 budget for the campaign for IHG. So that is definitely something I personally would like to go after, because that's something that, hey, I already do this stuff for these resorts, might as well go after a client like that. So that's the difference. And now if you're dealing with a fashion designer, which I also have a lot of experience with, this last year I shot 2 campaigns for Burberry, as well as Giorgio Armani. I've shot tons of lookbooks for fashion designers. I've shot advertising campaigns for fashion designers. I've shot over 200 magazine editorials. Fashion is a whole different beast, Mark. When we're shooting for fashion, it depends on if it's a major well-known brand like Burberry. They do have larger budgets, so it's not going to be as big of a budget as, say, shooting for AT&T or Verizon, but it's going to be a sizable budget. Those can range anywhere from 40,000 up to like 150,000 for a major campaign for Gucci, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, one of those. But if you're shooting, say, a Pepsi campaign, you're probably going to make about $150,000 to $200,000, like, minimum on something like that. So it just kind of depends. And if it's a resort campaign, oftentimes they do like to cut you off at the knees if it's a resort directly, and they're not going to pay as much. Now, what I would make sure to not do, Mark, is get stuck with shooting just for the hospitality, like just the rooms or just the restaurants or beverage, because they're not going to pay you as much. If you start shooting lifestyle for them, for a national lifestyle campaign, the budgets are going to be massively more, and you're going to make way more as a photographer shooting the lifestyle national campaign. Very, very, very important just to know that. And by the way, guys, I thank you so much for answering in all these polls. I think this is absolutely fantastic. I just love to know where you guys stand with everything. I even am putting on a because you also asked about the difference in the shoots as well as budget and everything, Mark. I'm also asking a poll: how much do you guys make per photo shoot? Is it a few $100, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000? What is your range for a shoot? Now, me personally, since I am a lifestyle advertising photographer and celebrity fashion photographer, I personally don't pick up my camera for under $30,000 for a shoot. It's not worth it for me. I recently had a campaign come in yesterday from my colleague in New York, and it's a smaller scale job. It's like under $1,000 a day to do for to shoot for these. It's shooting like avatars for basically landing pages on websites. it's not worth it for me. So I'm not going to do that job. I'm going to pass it on to a photographer or director that maybe is more hungry for it. But for me, if it's under 30 grand, it's not really worth it financially, just because of the time, the energy, the production, the scale, and it's something that it's not worth it. So I would recommend, if you guys want to make more money, just like Kelly is talking about, get into the lifestyle advertising production budgets, because the budgets are much grander. They're much larger. They're much more lucrative. And the reason that is because of the usage rights, the creative fees, and that's generally tied to the media buy. So I would say on average, my rule of thumb is my usage fee as a photographer is going to be approximately 10% of the media buy. So if the media buy is going to be $1 million on the media buy, meaning the placement is going to go on a billboard, or it's going to go in a print magazine, or it's going to be ad spend on Facebook or Google. If it's going to be $1 million ad spend, it'll be a $100,000 usage fee. And that's pretty standard. And if you have clients that are saying, oh no, it's just for social media. Well, just for social media, social is very expensive. Find out how much they're spending on just for social media, because it's probably a lot. And oftentimes, if it's any sizable company, it's going to be 6 figures or 7 figures on what they're spending on ad placement. And we need to know those details. Always ask the client what those details are. And by the way, guys, excellent. Thank you so much for answering in the polls. And I'm really excited to answer some more of your questions. Crystal Bear asks, one of my concerns still is having the confidence. And by the way, Crystal Bear is an incredible photographer. I've worked with her on multiple occasions in person at our epic workshops. She's an amazing person and really talented photographer and cinematographer. She says, one of my concerns is still having the confidence and knowledge of directing and producing a large-scale shoot, a production. Kevin, I know you mentioned we can use you as a resource, but as I get closer to landing some larger jobs, it's scary for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Crystal. It is scary. And this is one of the reasons, this is one of the benefits of being a part of our network in the photography workshop series, is that if it is scary and you have some huge production that comes down the path that you land, because, Crystal, you're an incredible photographer, and you, you created all this amazing photography with me personally over the years, and your work is amazing. And if some huge campaign comes out of that, then, what do we do? Well, you can contact me, and I can not only walk you through it, and I can do that free of charge, or if you want to get me involved in the production. By the way, this is Crystal's website and her landing page. She shot this incredible content at our Newport Beach workshop. And so what I would do, and this is one of the benefits of my position, is I'm able to mentor all you guys. By the way, this is at the Las Vegas workshop, this amazing content as well that you guys are watching of Crystal's. But Crystal, when you get that opportunity and you get closer to actually landing the campaign, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to coach you through it. And if you don't feel comfortable producing a $100,000 shoot, you can always bring me on to help you. You can include me as a producer, or if you want me to help you direct it or art direct it, I can be in any role you want. But I love being a part of those sequences so that when you shoot that campaign, I make you look like a hero. Because the Photography Workshop Series, guys, this is all about you. This isn't about me. It's what I can do to make you guys, your lives better. Just like we talked about and heard from Rob, as well as from Kelly today, is that I'm here to help maximize your career. And for me to hear that Kelly is, since you started taking the workshops and increasing her pricing and, increasing her stronger branding, Kelly is now making $100,000 a year more. Now that's some serious return on investment. And I'm really proud of her. And Rob is at a point where he's just about to transition out of his current career into a new career as a photographer. And I cannot wait to help him with that transition and see the kind of success that Rob can achieve, because he is an amazing guy and a world-class photographer. And so are you, Crystal. You've got it. You've got what it takes. I know the confidence is a challenge sometimes, but remember, I'm here as your ally, and so is your photographic consultant. You work personally with Priscilla Evans, our #1 top photographic consultant and production coordinator, who helps manage and create all this magic. I know you work personally with her, and if you've got concerns, she's here to help you, and so am I, every step of the way, because we want to help you achieve greatness. That's the most important thing. So thank you guys so much. And guys, lifestyle photography and this incredible work, by the way, we're watching right here. This is all at the New York Fashion Workshop that Crystal has attended. Incredible experience. Crystal signed up for literally all the workshops we do, and I'm really proud of everything she's achieved because it's absolutely amazing content. And we're here to help you grow, develop, be the best version of yourself, and also build more confidence along the way so that you can always come out winning and being the most successful version of yourself. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited about everything we've achieved this last year, winning 185 photographic awards in the last 2 years with the top 7 out of 10 fashion photographers in America 2 years ago. And this last year, the top 3 out of 10 fashion photographers in America, all from the photography workshop series. All photographed, photographed by our attendees and art directed, produced, and directed by me, which I'm really proud of and really excited about. And I cannot wait to see you guys take it to the next level this coming year. And we're here to help you every step of the way. So if you guys are interested in attending any of these epic experiences, or especially if you want to take a leg up in lifestyle, we have a mind-blowing workshop next week in Virginia. We have a spot open, and it's going to be on commercial lifestyle, slice of life advertising. The entire production is going to be on that. We're shooting at multi-million-dollar estates in the Virginia, Leesburg area, and we're photographing with top models that we're flying in from New York, Miami, and LA, and we're creating some unbelievable stories that I can't wait to direct with you guys. And I'm doing 2 one-on-ones with the photographer while I'm there as well. So we're going to be creating some unbelievable content in Virginia. So if you guys are interested in joining us and having that epic experience of a lifetime, and you want to take that last spot, let us know. Shoot us a message, and we can get you involved in that last spot. And I can't wait to work with you guys going forward. After this, we have some amazing productions, including going to Europe and shooting at my 49-room castle in France, which I'm really excited about, as well as all these other productions throughout the year. And I am looking forward to creating the greatest lifestyle content imaginable so that you guys can achieve greatness in your photography. I'll see you on the next one, guys.